All right, so we're going to talk about our last type of non-renewable energy. And this is one that people traditionally don't consider to be non-renewable, but it is. It's nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is created from uranium. We know that uranium is in the earth. It has to be mined. So once we run out of uranium, we do not have the ability to have nuclear energy anymore. That's why it's non-renewable. Okay. So nuclear energy is generated through the fission of uranium-235. Fission means to split. Okay? So you have fusion and then you have fission. And fission means to split. Okay. So this is the way that energy is released from uranium. All right, so here we have our uranium atom, our U-235, okay? What scientists do is they will strike the uranium with a neutron, okay? So a neutron strikes or collides the uranium-235 atom. Okay? What this does is look at all this energy. Energy, 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 energy. It releases a tremendous amount of energy. Okay? So when we look at this image, guys, this just keeps happening over and over and over, okay? So there's lots of energy that's produced. Now, when this is split, it releases radiation, which we know is bad. It causes lots of environmental damage. It actually causes cancer and kills humans, okay? So this process also releases radiation because an atom is split. Okay, now we're going to go into more detail with nuclear energy because we're going to focus on like some environmental disasters that have occurred because of nuclear energy. Now, this is our nuclear power plant. And if you look at this, guys, the process is pretty much the same. It's got a generator, we're heating up water, we're turning a turbine. It's very similar, okay? So here we have our core. In the core, we contain, these are the fuel rods, okay? So the fuel rods contain the U-235, okay? So this fission reaction is happening right here in the core. So here we have our water system that is used to pump. Now, when you have this fission reaction occur, it releases a tremendous amount of heat. When I say tremendous, guys, I'm talking about melt the planet. Tremendous. Okay, so it releases tremendous. What is that? Oh, how does it keep doing that? Releases a tremendous amount of heat. And because it does that, it must be cooled constantly. So look at the picture, guys. What is the core sitting in? Water. The core has to be surrounded by water because water absorbs all that heat. Okay? So when we have this heat that's released, okay, here is our steam generator. The water is heated up to create steam. The steam goes to, guess what this is? The turbine. Okay, the turbine turns, and then it causes the generator to produce electricity. Okay, so here we have the production of electricity. So you can see, guys, the process is pretty similar. All right. Now, what are the advantages? It does not produce air pollution. That's kind of cool, because we're just using nuclear energy. So it does not produce air pollution like the other fossil fuels. Now, we do have to use fossil fuels when we're building a nuclear power plant, but it doesn't constantly release it. Now, what are the disadvantages? Well, there's actually quite a few. So uranium-235 remains radioactive for thousands of years. So what do you do with it? What do you do with the nuclear waste? Do you just dump it outside? Can't do that. So it remains radioactive for thousands of years. It has to be disposed of properly. Also, we do have what's called thermal pollution. So a lot of times what you'll see is this water right here that's used to cool the core. Some nuclear power plants have been known to dump it, and it basically, like if you're dumping it into a river or a lake or some other type of body of water, you're going to kill everything because the water is just so hot and it's just not good. Okay, so let's turn the page and let's look at some specifics. All right, so when we're talking about the uranium-235 that has been used, it has to be disposed of properly. So how do you store nuclear waste? So nuclear waste has to be stored in airtight and waterproof containers. Why waterproof? Water actually corrodes nuclear waste, so it needs to be away from all water. Now, it should be in a cool environment where no one is going to have access to it, because this could still be weaponized. And this is one of the big, right now, that security concerns for the United States is making sure our radioactive waste is kept safe and does not get into the hands of terrorists. So even when this stuff is being transported from place to place for storage, it is basically, you've got armed guards that go with it to prevent it from being stolen. Okay, now, where exactly does this stuff get stored? What specific location? Okay. One of the biggest sites that we see in the United States right now is Yucca Mountain. Now, Yucca Mountain was a proposed site for the nation's nuclear waste. Nevada didn't want it there. I mean, can you blame them? But the government went ahead and built a storage facility there, and they never finished the production of it. It's a really weird situation, but we do have some nuclear waste stored here. It's basically stored deep underground under, military protection because it has to be kept safe. So this is storage for nuclear waste. Okay, sorry guys, my handwriting's getting really sloppy right now. All right, so this is where the phrase NIMBY came from. Okay, if you are a Nevada resident, do you want nuclear waste stored in your state? Funny story is Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, said, hey, yeah, we can be a storage site too. Y'all want some nuclear waste stored here? I don't know about you, but I don't. So NIMBY stands for not in my backyard. Okay? So the challenge to this is finding a place for nuclear waste to be stored. Now, one of the big issues with, or one of the big risks with using nuclear energy are nuclear accidents. So these are typically when you have the core gets too hot and it causes a meltdown of the facility and it releases radiation into the environment. Okay, so the first most well-known one is Chernobyl. And you guys probably learned about this in history. So Chernobyl happened in 1986. This happened because of human error. This was a full meltdown. The cooling tanks overheated, which is why it's called a meltdown. So basically, if you look at the picture, guys, the power plant exploded. This region in Ukraine, power plant exploded. Okay, this is in Ukraine. This region of Ukraine is you still cannot go to because the radiation levels are so high. I will try to find a video and post it for you guys because the animals that still live there, they've developed some weird mutations. So it's kind of interesting. All right, the next one that we know of is 3 Mile Island. This happened in 1979. This was in Pennsylvania. So this is in the United States. Okay, so this was what is a partial meltdown. So it did not fully melt down. Partial meltdown, and again, y'all, this is because of human error. Human error. Right here, guys, cooling system leak. The cooling system malfunctioned. Okay? All right, now the last one that we are still seeing issues from is Fukushima. Now, when we went over Fukushima, and this is in 2011, when we went over earthquakes, we talked about the tsunami that happened in Japan in 2011, and it caused a meltdown of the power plant in Fukushima. That was in one of the videos that you watched, okay? This picture right here is showing you the radiation leak that resulted from this. It was massive. So all of this radiation dumped into the Pacific Ocean. It was picked up in the United States, all the way in Wisconsin of all places. And so you can see that the reason why a lot of the seafood that was imported from Japan had to be banned for several years. So again, Fukushima, this was due to an earthquake. Okay. This was a partial meltdown. And again, fish were contaminated. So we did not eat fish from Japan for quite a while. All right, guys, so that is it for our non-renewable energy sources. The next half of Unit 6 will be about renewable energy, and then we'll be finishing up Unit 6 right after that.